An airport is an area of land or water that is intended for takeoffs and landings of aircraft. Airports contain movement areas and non-movement areas. Some examples of movement areas are runways and taxiways and require clearance from air traffic control before aircrafts may proceed on them. Non-movement areas are terminals, parking and refueling, as well as maintenance. Airport markings and signs are used on the surface to help identify runways, taxiways, thresholds, hold lines, and center lines. Generally, runways are marked in white, while yellow is used to identify taxiways, hazardous areas, holding lines, and closed areas. Runways are used for takeoffs and landings. They are identified by a number based on the magnetic heading of the approach. Generally, white solid lines outline the edge of the runways. White dashed lines are used to identify the center lines. Single runways use numbers only, while parallel runways will use letters to supplement the order from left to right. Taxiways are used to provide pilots with visual guidance to runways, to parking areas, to terminals, as well as identify movement areas from non-movement areas. The solid lines are usually on the side of the non-movement areas. Taxiway signs help identify where the aircraft is on the airport. They have a black background and yellow inscription. Taxiway direction signs indicate the direction the aircraft must go to get to the desired taxiway. They have yellow backgrounds with black inscription. Sometimes these direction signs can have runway information on them. Airport lighting. Rotating beacons are used at all airports to help identify them at night or in times of inclement weather. Land airports use flashing white and green beacons. Water airports will use flashing white and yellow beacons. Military airports will use two quick flashing white lights followed by a green flash. Taxiway lights are used in times of darkness or restricted visibility. Taxiway edge lights are blue, while the taxiway center lights are green. Stop bar lights are steady red lights and are active out of air traffic control. These are used to prevent pilots from entering an active runway at night or in times of inclement weather. Runway edge identifying lights, also known as REILs, they are a pair of synchronized white flashing strobe lights located on each side of the runway, and they face the inbound air traffic. Runway edge lights outline all the edges of the runway. Yellow replaces the last 2,000 feet or half of the runway, whichever is less, while red lights toward the departure into the runway and green lights on the approach into the runway facing outward. Runway centerline lights are white lights in 50-foot intervals until the last 3,000 feet. Then it goes from white to alternator red lights for the next 2,000 feet and all red on the last 1,000 feet. These help identify how close the pilot is to the end of the runway. It is important to understand signs and lightings at airports for safety. Research as much as possible before beginning a flight. Pilots must be trained and have received proper endorsements from a certified flight instructor before venturing off to one of these airports. Thank you.